Hey, welcome to What in ADHD. I'm Sydney, and today we're going to be talking about parenting with ADHD. Before I get started, these videos take a long time to record and edit. I'd really appreciate the likes and the subscriptions because it's the only thing that's going to keep this channel going. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, parenting with ADHD. So let's get this little factoid out of the way. If you have ADHD and you have a child, there's a 35 to 50% chance that they're also going to have ADHD. Of course, that statistic increases if you and your partner both have ADHD. The main things I want to go over today are 1, the common feelings amongst parents with ADHD. 2, how to overcome some of those feelings and introduce some hacks that I've found useful. And 3, how to best prepare your child for the world despite your diagnosis and possibly despite their diagnosis. So what are some common feelings amongst parents with ADHD? While I understand that parenting is hard for anybody, it is going to be especially difficult for people that are neurodivergent. So what do I mean by that? People with ADHD are going to have a lower stress tolerance. Neurotypicals are going to have a stress tolerance, say, about up here. Throughout the day, as they experience something stressful, it's going to build up and up and up and up to the point where they are overwhelmed with stress. Now, people with ADHD, their stress tolerance is probably going to be more around here. Things that wouldn't send neurotypicals over the edge here would send people with ADHD over the edge with stress. And the problem with that is a lot of things stress us out. If you haven't checked out my RSD, Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria video from last week, I highly recommend you pause this one, go check that one out. It'll describe why people with ADHD feel more stress, guilt, shame, stuff like that, and then come on back to this one and resume. So people with ADHD are going to get more stressed out when they feel like they're about to be rejected by something, when they feel judged by other people. That gets amplified when you have children because you're afraid that your children are going to get judged. You're afraid that your children are going to get rejected. So we're constantly worried about things anyway. And then when you have a child, that just kind of amplifies that as well. So not only is your stress cap a lot lower than neurotypicals, but you're also going to build up to that stress cap a lot faster than neurotypicals build up to theirs, if that makes sense. So stress is obviously a huge feeling experienced by, like I said, all parents, but especially for parents with ADHD. The other feelings that are commonly felt amongst parents with ADHD would be embarrassment, overwhelmment. Is that a word? Overwhelmed? I think overwhelmed is it. Feeling overwhelmed, consistently feeling overwhelmed. So stress, consistently feeling overwhelmed, embarrassment, feeling like you're not good enough. That really goes back to my other video about RSD. People with ADHD, we're constantly feeling like we're not good enough, like we're not going to be good enough for other people. And then when you're a parent, you feel that with your child too. Like, am I doing this right? Am I being a good parent? Does my kid love me? Does my kid even like me? Stuff like that. Those are 4 really big ones. Where do they come from? We're going to feel all of those things because we can't keep our shit together. We're always unorganized. We can't really keep to a schedule like most parents. We forget things like our child's appointment or when pickup and drop off is for daycare or school. We forget to pack their lunch. We forget when pajama day is and our kid ends up going to school in pajamas when nobody else showed up in pajamas. Not that that's a true story or anything. But we forget a lot of stuff. We show up late a lot because we're late, because we forget things, because we're unorganized, because our room and our kid's room is a mess and we can't find things and we forget things all the time. Because of all of those things, we feel embarrassed. We feel like we're not good enough as parents. We feel stressed out and overwhelmed. I used it right that time. We feel all those things because of our ADHD traits. So what can we do to fix that? These are things that I've looked up online, things that I've kind of figured out, things that I've heard from other parents. And of course, if you have any tips or skills that you've acquired or things that you've read about and want to try out, I would super appreciate if you left it in the comments so that myself and other parents with ADHD can maybe see what other parents with ADHD are doing. And this is a great part to interrupt myself again, like I normally do. Join my Facebook group. It's What in the ADHD. And then I also have a Twitter, What in the ADHD. It's at What the ADHD. Hopefully, as this channel gets a little more popular, I will be posting on those platforms, asking if anybody wants to be interviewed, if anybody has any ideas for specific videos, stuff like that. Anyway, what can we do to fix those things? Does this sound familiar to you? You go up to a friend, it's probably a neurotypical friend, or maybe it's a friend with ADHD that's a little more organized than you, and you're like, man, I'm really stressed out. I can't seem to stay organized with such and such. And then your friend's just like, oh, why don't you just make a schedule or a calendar for your family? And then you're like, I've tried that. It doesn't work. And then your friend's like, oh, you need to make it available in the Google Cloud where everybody can see it and make a big calendar. And like, I have spent hours making a Google Calendar for me and my husband, I bought a little like dry erase board calendar. You want to see? Do you want to see my calendar right now? Hold on. So here she is in all her glory. If you notice the August and September, it is now January. So calendars don't work for me. I have tried to, think of a schedule for my son. He's still shocked every night when he has to take a bath and when it's bedtime because we don't have him on a schedule. My husband, by the way, doesn't have ADHD, but I get kind of irritable and snappy when he tries to micromanage. So he's just kind of like, whatever, I'll let her do her thing. And unfortunately, now everything's a mess. So we don't have him on a particular schedule. He doesn't have at 6 p.m. we eat dinner, and at 7:15 you take a bath, and at 8:30 we read bedtime stories. Parents that do that, good job. Like, congratulations, that is awesome. I am not that type of person. I do not have a schedule. I know I need to work on it. But I do have some ideas that maybe would work for you. Here they go. 1, you could try the dry erase calendar thing like I tried. Good luck. 2, doing like a cloud calendar where you set reminders. Oh, that is something that works for me personally, not with my child necessarily, but I am a grad student, and when I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2018, I looked more and more into it, and then I found some tips, and one of them was setting reminders in your phone for things. And you're probably like, duh, but I'm serious, for every single thing. But what I would do is I would set in my calendar, like, okay, you have recombinant DNA lecture at 11 a.m. I would set it every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then what I did was I would give myself reminders 30 minutes before and an hour before. But if it's things that require you to drive there, like an appointment, you could set it days in advance. When you go to their appointment, put it in your phone right away. When the little nurse at the desk is like, would you like me to write this down on a card for you? And your brain's like, oh yeah, that'll be a good reminder. We don't need to write this down ourselves. You are going to lose it. You are going to lose that little piece of paper that says your kid's next dentist appointment is in August at 9 a.m. You're gonna lose it. So put it in your phone. And don't just put it in your calendar and be like, done. No. Set a reminder for an hour in advance, maybe 2 hours in advance also, and probably 1 and 3 days in advance. Let's say it's on a Thursday. So on Monday, it'll be like, hey, your kid has a dentist appointment on Thursday. You're like, oh, good thing. I forgot about that. Gotta cancel my plans with Joe. And then you're gonna forget about it, naturally. And then the day before, on Wednesday, your phone's gonna buzz and you're gonna look at it and you're like, oh shit, good thing I have this in here because I totally forgot about the dentist appointment tomorrow. And then the day of, 2 hours before, you're like, oh, good thing because I totally got into the Zelda game. An hour before, you're like, oh shit, I'm still playing Zelda. Let's go, Jimmy. And then you and Jimmy make it to the dentist appointment. Probably not on time, but close enough. So making things in your calendar, but not just that, a step further and putting constant reminders in, especially for the important things. Another thing with scheduling that I have thought of doing that I would like to try soon, I don't know how many of you have an Alexa in your house, but I think it would be a great idea. I don't know if this would work, but telling Alexa to announce when it's time for specific things in your house every day. For example, my son hates taking baths. Like, he loves taking baths, but he hates the idea of them. Like, once he's in there, he's like, oh, this is great. And then he spends 30 minutes in there. But before, he's like, what? I have to take a bath? And he throws a temper tantrum. I think it's because it's always brought on by surprise. I realize on a Tuesday, like, oh shit, he hasn't taken a bath in 2 days. Quentin, hurry up and get in the bath. And he's like, what? What? So I've been thinking about telling Alexa, like, Alexa, on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, at 6 p.m., announce, Quentin, you have a bath in 30 minutes. And then, Quentin, you have a bath in 10 minutes. So then he hears them, and then it's not a surprise. It's not a shock. He's anticipating it. He can still watch his YouTube videos. He can still play with his kinetic sand. But he knows in the back of his mind, okay, I have a bath in this amount of time. I have a bath in this amount of time. So that's what I've been thinking about doing lately. So making a set schedule, using your calendars, and possibly even like setting a specific routine and then trying to hold yourself accountable for it are really great ways to help a little bit with the stress that comes with parenting when you have ADHD. As I got into editing this video, I realized that I had a lot more to say than I anticipated. So I'm going to cut these into 2 halves. This is the first video, and then I'll post the second one, hopefully 24 hours from when I posted this one, and that one will cover how we can prepare our children for the world despite our ADHD diagnosis and possibly despite theirs. And then I give some ideas for how to help your child if they do have ADHD and how to prevent them from developing RSD or severe RSD. So that's all I have for you today. Sorry I didn't cover everything in one video. I will see you guys next time.